Hey guys, Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who Classic. Last time on Doctor Who Classic, we started off the Daleks Master Plan. What was that one about?
It was really dark.
Yeah.
They escaped from Troy. Stephen had been wounded, and they picked up this poor Greek girl, Katerina. And they end up landing on the planet from Mission to the Unknown and realized the Daleks were there, and they managed to leave the TARDIS behind, but got onto a spaceship. But they landed on, I don't even remember where, but they picked up some really bad people.
Yeah, it was like a criminal planet, basically.
A prison colony or something. And then the criminals tried to take them hostage, and one of the guys got Katerina in the airlock, and she popped open the door and essentially sacrificed herself so that the Doctor and Stephen and the guy who would later become the Brigadier would all be safe. So and then, of course, the Doctor had stolen...
He stole the core of the Time Destructor.
Time Destructor, yes.
Which had been... the specific core had been mined by Mavic Chen, who was the guardian of the solar system, but is in on the whole Dalek plot to take over the universe.
And we had a long discussion about whether or not this was literally a step-by-step science fiction version of World War II with Joseph Stalin and the Non-Aggression Pact and all this other stuff. So
and we actually lost the not Brigadier, Brett. He ended up dying to someone else. So now we're kind of just down to the Doctor and Stephen. And they don't even have the TARDIS because that's still back on that other planet. So they're going to have to go back there at some point to go get it. So, and we're not even halfway through. We still have 8 more episodes, which I'm pretty sure so far in the normal run, we haven't had any episode that exceeds 7 parts, I don't think. No. I think it's only gone up to 7, and now this one is up to 12.
Which one was 7? Do you remember?
Well, there was the first Dalek serial was 7, and then Marco Polo, I think, was 7. Okay. And then I think most of the others were, like, if they were extra long, they were, like, 6. Yeah. So...
Well, Marco Polo was certainly worth it. I mean, that was a story that really didn't feel all that padded. You know, some of the trek through the desert was a little unnecessary, but overall, the entire Marco Polo series was really, really good.
Right. So, also, you know, I was kind of thinking, this is, I guess, slightly off topic, but, you know, because most of these are, you know, missing episodes, I think it's not until 2 serials after this that they have a complete serial, just 100% they have all the episodes. So I'm wondering if there's anyone out there that, like, they skip over the recons. Like, if they don't watch the recons, how can you keep up with this? Like, because the last complete serial that we had was the Time Meddler. Yeah. So to go from the Time Meddler to, and I don't know where, you know, how much is going to happen before we get to the next complete serial, but you will have lost Vicky. I don't even know if maybe Steven's not there. I don't know. So that's got to be confusing for some people. Luckily, we're watching all the recons, so we can see when we just have a companion join and then leave in like 3 episodes.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, I guess. So,
yeah, like you said, can you imagine being the girl who got signed on to play Katerina, thinking that she was going to be the next companion, and 3 episodes later she's sucked out into space and frozen to death?
Yeah, you get no lines. It's like, I hope she wasn't paid by the word, because she didn't get a lot. And then, just killed immediately. And I'm very curious, again, whose idea was that to kill her off?
Well, you had basically speculated that Terry Nation had written this thinking that Vicky would be there.
Perhaps,
or somebody, or you know, and just had to basically revise it to make do with these other people.
Yeah, so that also makes me think that, you know, because that was the beginning of episode 4 that we lost Katerina. I would imagine then that at some point in the next 8 episodes, we're going to get a new female companion, maybe pretty quickly, and she will take over for where Vicky was supposed to be in this story. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Again, now that Verity Lambert is gone, these are turning really, really dark.
Yeah, this is it's pretty weird. Now, I think someone said, like, technically these episodes were already commissioned before she left, but still, like, I'm wondering, like, if maybe, like, they already knew she was going to leave, and then Terry Nation's like, all right, the gloves are coming off then. I'm about to go crazy on this typewriter. So, I don't know. It's very odd where we've gone now.
Yeah.
So, I guess we should go ahead and see where we're going to keep going.
Might as well.
With episodes 5 through 8 of the Daleks Master Plan. Part 5 is a complete episode.
Ooh, yay.
Which means after that we'll have to watch 3 recons in a row, but still.
It's the price we pay.
Yeah, we should go ahead and get started. Here we go. That's the Emperor's throne room. That's terrifying. They said Hartnell's face was scary before.
It's a transporter beam.
I guess.
Molecular dissemination.
The only reason that you, as Guardian of the Solar System, were admitted to the Universal Council was because of our superior knowledge of mineralogy. Without us, they cannot get terranium. Without me, their plan cannot completely work. Without me,
Dick Cheney
they
and
are
George
but
Bush.
nothing. And the highest position in the universe. Then will be the time for me to take complete control.
Slight problem. Daleks.
Did I say that out loud? Oops.
You will have a high place in galactic history. The highest. Next to you.
See, I can already tell he's got a good plan. Let him conquer the Daleks and he conquers him. Still a problem, though. Daleks.
Something invisible.
Maybe. Let's save on budget.
Ooh. Always a cool special effect. Invisible Sasquatch.
Yeah, I said, the invisible monster to save on budget, but that's gotta be pretty tricky to do.
Between the three of you, you had stolen the terranium, the most valuable mineral in the universe. It was needed desperately to spread the peace which was founded in the solar system to reach the whole galaxy.
What was the terranium going to do?
How should I know? I had my orders.
Your orders. And even though
I was only following orders, like a good soldier should.
You are surrounded. You will come with us.
I'm afraid, my friends, the Daleks have won.
Gene Marsh. It was right. Alright.
Okay, that's part 5. Kind of seemed like... It kind of felt a little fillery, where it's like, alright, now we're going to this planet to do something else. And I was like, okay.
Well, of course, ultimately we have to all get back to the planet where the TARDIS is, so, I mean...
Yeah, but I still don't think we're going to be going back there, technically. Now, were they on Earth at the beginning of the episode?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting. I figured we would have to be at Earth because that's where the Daleks are invading first, so... I don't know, like, I would assume maybe we have to go back there or something, I don't know.
And before I forget, if any of you who are our viewers live in the southern plains of the United States, I want to point out that the state of Oklahoma hosts a Bigfoot festival first weekend in October in a little town called Onabee in far eastern Oklahoma. Now, I don't know what the precautions will be this year with the pandemic and everything, but first weekend in October, Onabee, Oklahoma, Bigfoot festival. Be there if you can be. Be there or be square.
Okay, I guess. Again, kind of going off of, this sort of feeling like a bit of a fillery, detour episode. It's like, okay, well, what kind of monsters are we going to have here? The Vizians. They're invisible. It's like, Okay, well that'll save money. It's like really the only thing we've got to pay for are the Dalek suits, which we already have, unless we're need to make a new one, which probably not, and the 4 mice that we had to bring along,
and a swamp set with running water and dry ice to create fog.
Yeah, but they've used the swamp set so much that they probably just had to add the water and the dry ice. So
Dennis Spooner. Dennis Spooner.
Did Terry Nation take a week off?
Well, Dennis was one of their historical writers, wasn't he?
Yeah.
From an idea by Terry Nation.
Well, you couldn't do 12 weeks in a row?
Ooh.
Well, that was kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
Of course, that was, again, someone had to pay to make that CG for this.
Like your Chumbly.
I'm not doing it again.
You know what to do?
Yes. At any time, they could have contacted forces unsympathetic to our plans.
You make your incompetence sound like an achievement.
Incompetence now, is it?
Ooh.
You forget that the original
How
blunder
timely.
was not of my doing.
Sarah, the technology of my age may be hundreds of years behind yours and the doctor's, but there are still some things I can handle. Yes, of course it is, my dear boy. Of course.
See, this is weird. Now he's the out-of-date one.
Stephen!
My dear boy, what happened? You still breathe?
The fool!
Okay, I got nervous for a second. I was like, is he gonna die right here?
His experiment with
This is it. The core of the kindest factor.
Exterminate him!
He's got his force field.
Oh, that's why. I just thought they were lousy shots.
Look here, Sarah. You see those tiles? Now, you know what that means? If either of you went outside, it would be extremely dangerous. The whole atmosphere is entirely poisonous.
Good King Wenceslas went out on the feast of Stephen.
And that's part 6. So we're halfway through and we've left. We're done.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Okay, do we suspect that they gave them the real Terranium?
By accident?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of thought about that. It could be that if that's... That would explain why there's 6 more episodes,
Yeah.
but... of course, couldn't the Daleks just invade anyway? And, I'm not sure exactly what this time destructor is used for. They could easily just go in and conquer Earth anyway.
Yeah.
The only thing that stopped them the last time was the Doctor,
Yeah.
so...
Now, why was this episode called Coronas of the Sun? There was no reference to the sun or to coronas or...
Nope.
Okay.
I got nothing on that.
If anyone out there knows why, please enlighten us.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Well, let's see what's happening in Chapter 7.
We have made it to the halfway point. Let's keep going. Well, Terry Nation's back.
Back on Earth?
Maybe. They went to an actual police station. So when the doctor says, oh, it's too polluted out there, it's just normal pollution he's talking about.
Oh, Christmas. Oh, is it? Of course. Yes. That accounts for the holly in the hall.
I guess this is our first Christmas
Well, of course
episode.
No, I travelled about too much.
And a Dalek Christmas episode at that.
She's a friend of the old man's.
Let me go! Come on, Stephen!
Okay, that was obviously meant for a Christmas episode.
Yeah, that was very filler.
Hello. What's up with you?
Hello.
Yeah.
It's a melodrama. Probably a TV show or a play or something. Charlie Chaplin. Rudolph Valentino.
I will come to you. Iggy! Did you see them? Who? A guy and a gal. They just beat the living daylights out of my camera crew. It was great. Perhaps you like your film
15 or
interrupted, but
1920
I do not.
film set
Please do not
in
interrupt
California
me
somewhere.
when I am creative.
So Terry Nation took a break last episode. Not this episode.
Must have got a bottle of rum or something for Christmas.
First, you wait here.
Keystone Cops.
That is some janky animation right there.
As an expert on Arabian custom, we need your help. Certainly, my help. Oh, I should be delighted. Yes, Saidi, it's very good.
I'm just hoping that at some point the Daleks just bust through a wall and start killing people.
This is embarrassing.
Like, this is the same episode where we watched Katarina's body fly through space and... I've never been happier to hear the TARDIS sound.
What do you want? Can't you see I'm busy?
Oh, it's Bill.
Professor Webster. Who, you? Yes, Professor Webster. Darling!
It's mine. Let's hope we never land there again.
Here we are.
Yes, let's hope.
What's this?
Oh,
Don't you remember the police station, Christmas?
So it was, yes.
Here's a toast. A happy Christmas to all of us.
Same to you, Doc.
Incidentally, a happy Christmas to all of you at home.
Oh, please. Well, hang on, let the
Okay.
credits roll. Let's see.
had a lot of characters in this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Professor Webster, Albert Barrington? I don't think so. Okay. We should find out who Albert Barrington is.
Merry Christmas, Dad.
Ah. Wow.
That... If you had told, if it popped up like at the beginning, like written by Dennis Spooner instead of Terry Nation, I would have believed that. Like, okay, we gotta take a sec to do a Christmas special, I guess. We've never, in the 3 years we've had this show, we haven't had to do that.
Wow.
Talk about filler, and not good filler at that.
No, it was just horrible. Because in the middle of literally the Dalek invasion of the solar system,
Yeah.
we get dreck. We get absolute crap.
This would have been 11 parts long if it wasn't for Christmas. I blame Christmas.
Okay, that didn't happen. Let's move on.
That was kind of hilarious, though. Also, too, just the fact that, you know, again, because especially how dark this episode has been, and to suddenly get that, but also just the fact that that first half when they were with the police was really boring. Like, nothing happened, and then we get just...
No. I want to say that there was either a situation comedy or some kind of sketch comedy team or somebody that, you know, the policeman always came in with, hello, what's going on here? What's all this then? And that stuck in the back of my mind. So that may have been part of that. I mean, kind of like the Christmas specials that we've seen before with the crossovers with EastEnders and stuff like that.
That could have been a crossover?
Yes.
That'd be...
So I don't know for sure.
It'd be very weird.
But yeah, that had absolutely no business being in this serial.
Yeah, it seems like it just, like... The only reason that this exists in the middle of this episode is because this episode was being aired over Christmas.
Yeah.
So, Like, if they had figured it out to where it's like, okay, well, we'll have an episode on Christmas, but we'll have one serial before and one serial after, then this would have just been a standalone episode, which still would have been weird for us to watch, but...
And what I do like about it is the fact that if you drop that episode completely, you wouldn't miss anything.
Nothing changes.
Literally nothing in that episode has any bearing on the rest of the serial. So
yeah, there's...
It should be consigned to the dustbin of history.
That... Wow. Oh, now, and I have to say, because modern Doctor Who does a ton of Christmas specials. Like, I think only recently have they gone a year without a Christmas special, but I think they're doing, like, New Year's specials now. But, like, from 2005 onward, they never miss a Christmas special, even if they don't have a season. And they are all so much vastly superior to whatever that was. I like that it just doesn't care down to Hartnell at the end saying Merry Christmas to everyone at home. Like, the Doctor just broke the fourth wall to wish us Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Which, that's also hilarious. We're watching this in September, So...
Okay.
That's part 7.
Cleanse the palate and move on. That was a rotten oyster.
I'm actually thankful we have one more episode. So... Let's move on to part 8.
Back to Dennis.
Terra Nation came back just for that episode. Oh, this guy again.
Having had your
Avocado
contribution
Man.
to this,
At least that absurd story that
that guy's still
5
alive.
people from Trantis who stole the terranium has been
Leeches on his
discredited.
face.
yes, they were from Earth, I believe.
I mean, would you rather have leeches on your face or Oreos on your body?
They are under the influence. He is some kind of time and space traveler.
Then he is nothing to do with me.
He's almost like a
We
lord
have
of
not yet
time.
conquered
That sounds
the
silly.
dimension of time.
The Daleks should have checked before they fitted it, before they let the old man go.
Yeah, you're running out of ways to twist this to your favor.
You don't remember anything like this happening before, do you, Scott?
No. No.
Well, anyway, Ross is looking through the record books, and if there has been anything like it before, I'm sure he'll find it for us.
You know, Trev, this puts
It
a new
appeared
light
out
on
of
the
thin
game.
air. Are you not
What light,
freaking
Scott?
out about that?
Well, I know you're ground. It's gone again, Trev.
Yes, so it has. Well, that wasn't too bad, was it, Scott?
2.5 minutes. I make
Monty
it.
Python
Yes,
and the
well, there's the
TARDIS.
position. England wanting 78 runs in 42.5 minutes to win.
Oh yeah, if you don't know anything,
Yes, definitely
cricket
some sporting occasion.
obviously has scores that go over 100, unlike American baseball games. I was kind of sorry that when we went to Hawaii, we didn't get to go to the island with the active volcano. That would have been fun.
Well, look who's back.
I was about to say, what if it was the old monk?
That's pretty cool. He wouldn't try to take the TARDIS, would he?
No.
Because technically it's worse than his model.
Hello, Doctor. Keeping well?
No complaints, no. And you?
Oh, so, you know. Just so. I finally managed to bypass the dimensional controller.
Yes, a very interesting solution, yes, I'm sure, although I think it would make for rather an uncomfortable ride. However, I don't suppose it affected you very much, being an amateur.
Yes.
Now, just stand back and cover your eyes, please.
The sonic ring.
It hasn't worked.
Wait a moment, child.
Oh, that's from a completely different episode.
Yeah.
Now try.
You're a genius, Doctor.
Yes, I know, my boy. Hello.
Well, that worked.
You haven't heard the last of me, Doctor! You haven't heard the last of me!
If you ask me, we haven't had the last of that monk.
Quite so, dear boy. He'll be on our trail again as fast as he can get going.
Yes, but next time we'll be expecting him.
Exactly, my dear.
Yeah, but now the Daleks are coming
That's something
too.
I want you to do. Go to that indicator and let me know the instant the monk's TARDIS registers.
Yes, all right.
He's
But
going
first you tell
to
us.
have the
How did you
Daleks
break
chase
that
the
lock?
monk instead of
That's all very
them.
simple, dear boy. You see,
Oh.
the sun in that particular...
1966.
1966 in London.
New Year's Eve.
Nah.
Ian and Barbara's probably there somewhere.
I was gonna say, like, could we run into them?
I would have been there like in late May of '66. I went to London with some friends right after school ended.
Report to Scarlo. Our time machine is now in pursuit. Nothing can match Dalek technology. The universe shall be ours. Conquest is assured. Conquest, 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 conquest.
And we are now 2/3 of the way into this, and that was a whole lot of filler.
Oh, yeah.
That was, like, there were some things, like, there were some things that were alright, you know, the invisible creatures, and they did have to, you know, give them the fake,
Terranium.
the fake Terranium and stuff, and it was cool seeing the monk again, but...
And I kind of expected that the episode is called Volcano. The perfect ending to that would have been the Dalek ship would land just as the volcano erupts and wipes them out. That way they'd be able to make their escape. Or at least disables the Dalek machine for a bit so that they'd be able to escape. Wow.
But that was a whole lot of filler. Like, you know, when it's like, okay, 12 episodes, like, okay, well, it's pretty crazy. We haven't had 12 episodes before. And we watched the first 4, and those were legitimately good episodes. Pretty dark, but they were interesting. It's like, okay, and that's just a third of the way through. What are we going to do for the next 2/3?
Yeah.
Well, for these 4 episodes, we're not going to do anything.
We're literally not going to do anything.
And,
But yes, the best thing about that is the return of the monk.
Yeah, that was pretty cool and very unexpected, too. So,
again, although I thought if it wasn't the Daleks who was following him, then it was either himself or the only other time traveler that we've met was the monk. So
right. So it does make sense because it'd be unlikely to just introduce a new time traveler like that, at least. So, Happy New Year.
New Year's 1966.
Yeah.
I would have just turned 15, 14. Yeah, because it's 65. I would have been. Yeah, I would have just turned 14 about 2 weeks earlier.
Oh boy. That now wasn't this last episode was another written by Dennis Spooner, wasn't it? Okay, I was trying to make sure I remember which ones are which is also another odd thing that it's only on a couple, and it wasn't even like back to back where Dennis Spooner was like, it was Terry Nation, then Dennis Spooner, then Terry Nation again, and then Dennis Spooner again, and it's like that's very odd. It's the first time that someone else has come in and written an episode for someone else's story.
Yeah.
Especially a Dalek serial.
And, you know, Dennis Spooner was one of our favorites for the historicals, but these were just...
It felt like a, hey, we need this episode written. Terry Nation took the week off, so...
Here's 500 quid. Write something.
Yeah.
Movie set.
But no, that one was written by Terry Nation.
Yeah. Well.
So, yeah. So... the only thing I could think about that is that whoever, you know, maybe the producers or someone that just the BBC came and was like, hey, do some sort of Christmas thing for Doctor Who.
Lighten up. Don't eject people out into space where they die instantly.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, maybe the BBC was like, hey, you know, our biggest show, I guess, is Doctor Who. Let's do something for Christmas. And then, I guess, you know, Cindy Newman, he'd be the only producer left, honestly, was like, okay, so I gotta do this, and he hands it to Terry Nation like, I know you're in the middle of the darkest thing we've ever had on the show, but we got orders. We got...
We are only following orders?
Yeah.
Like good soldiers should?
Yeah, that's what this all is they wrote this under orders, so...
Wow. But seriously, it's such a dark and obviously dramatic entire serial, and to throw that crap in the middle of it is just that's indefensible.
Yeah, because even like the stuff with the monk, it's cool to see the monk again. But even that was, that it's the goofy monk. He's back again, and he tries to, maroon them on this planet. But the Doctor easily gets out, and that's that.
And I don't know why I didn't think of this before. He's not in 1066 anymore. He's obviously not a real monk. Why is he still wandering around in his monk's habit?
Yeah, it's like, I assume he had a real name, and he was a, just a guy, and then he portrayed himself as a monk, to blend in. But it's like, it's not like the Doctor, where it's like, oh, that's just the name he's chosen now. It's like, because even then, for the Doctor, he just chose the name the Doctor. He doesn't dress up like in scrubs or anything. So it's
Dr. Philosophy. Didn't he once say he was a doctor of philosophy or something like that, rather than a medical man?
Yeah,
just recently he said that.
Something. Yeah, he never claims to be a medical doctor. Yeah. So, although there's a joke later on with Matt Smith where they say you do have an actual doctor, right? It's not just a PhD in cheese making. He's like, no, I mean yes, but no. It's apparently the Doctor has a PhD in everything. So,
but yeah, he's more of a professor really than a doctor.
Yeah.
But Professor Who would sound
yeah. Although when in the Sylvester McCoy episodes, I think his companion Ace would call him the Professor. So. Anyway, so we can get into the notes. I feel like this is going to be a bit of a shorter discussion than what we're used to, because this is a bit of a slog, honestly. I don't know if that would have been any better if these weren't recons. If these were full episodes, it'd still be hard to get through, I think.
Yeah.
So,
all right, let's do it.
So many things have happened. So we first had the transporter. That's how long this has been. We had the transporter, and that was kind of interesting, a bit of an interesting effect too, with transporting them to Myra. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. Again, it sort of felt like a well, we gotta add in a little filler. Okay, we're taking a bit of a detour, but in that same episode, they also had. The Daleks getting there, and then immediately in the next episode they had to hand over the fake Terranium and stuff like that. So it was still pretty interesting, and it also basically allowed us to, I guess, sway Sarah over to our side.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it struck me the episode about with the transporter. The only thing that they didn't do, which would have been cool, is to have a fight between the invisible Bigfoot and a Dalek.
Yeah, I mean, because they pretty much already, because they had their scanner, they already knew where they were, so they just immediately shot. I was just wondering if, we were just going to see a Dalek, and then just his head would just scrunch up, without seeing the hand there. But I thought, that's, maybe I could see them trying, doing the footprint and stuff, but I don't know how you actually do that, on whatever budget and technology they have in I guess at the end of 1965, technically.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I wrote down highest power. So we had Mavic Chen, who wants to, hopefully, he wants to be the second in command with the Daleks, and then overthrow the Daleks, and then he will rule the universe. Again, problem, Daleks. It's pretty hard to beat them, unless you're the Doctor, and even then, obviously he can't put them down for good,
Yeah.
Which, that also reminds me, because they would often say, oh yeah, report to Skaro what's going on. What happened to the Thals? Are they just gone? Because we haven't talked about them since the first Dalek serial.
We have no idea.
And, the only other time I know that they appear is in Genesis of the Daleks, but that's technically a prequel to the original serial, so I have no idea what happens to the Thals. They might be dead for all we know. So they probably are, since Skaro is so powerful now.
Yeah, so continuity is not something that we're concerned with apparently at the moment.
Yeah. But that was interesting, just having Mavic Chen's whole... Now we understand his entire quest for power, which I guess that could also, tie into the whole Stalin angle we were going with.
But then, of course, he's got his second in command who's waiting for him to take over so that he can take over.
Yeah, it's just going to be this perpetual overthrowing of the guy until we're just going to run out of people at some point. Yeah. But
that is one of the problems with those authoritarian regimes, is that once you get power, of course, you put the target on your back, and there's you cannot trust anyone.
Yeah. So let's see. We had the invisible creatures. Again, that was a pretty cool effect when they showed the footprints in the mud. I don't know how they would have done that, but that was pretty interesting. And again, we sort of joke, oh well, it saves on budget and stuff, but it still was a very interesting monster.
One thing they do is they literally have a cutout of the foot, which is then covered with sand, and they have a way of then just dropping it down so that the sand drops, so it looks like someone has stepped on it. But yeah, that's a very common kind of special effect or the other one, of course, is simply it's just digitally put in later on. They rotoscope it or whatever that's called, where it's basically just a footprint that they then put in for 5 or 6 seconds, and then it moves on and they put another one in, so forth. So either way, it was again very cool effect, very common from that time period though.
Yeah. Let's see. I did write down that episode. It was episode 6 was written by Dennis Spooner, which again, that's the first time we've had just a different writer in the middle of a serial, especially a Dalek serial. So, and we obviously had that again here with episode 8. Makes me curious how that worked out. It's like, I guess Terry Nation just took the week off. I mean, we have that sometimes with the actors, but the writer seems a bit odd. Like, okay, you committed to 12 episodes, and now, I don't know.
Well, it may have been that they basically, Terry Nation had written 7 or 8 episodes, and then the producers needed to stretch it out some to get through the Christmas and New Year's holiday, and Nation wasn't available, so they said, well, Dennis Spooner's one of our good writers, we'll bring him in and we'll just write some filler. But either way, both of those episodes, the Christmas and even the New Year's one, that's wrong. They never should have done.
But it's still odd because the Christmas episode was written by Terry Nation himself. Yeah. Like I don't know. I want to know the story on that. Yeah. I'm eager to hear the comments, or I don't know. I'll probably go on Twitter and ask some people about that. Let's see. We also had Mavic Chen saying that he would outwit the Daleks, which is also another moment where it's like, well, again, unless you're the Doctor, you really can't do that. And I know maybe I'm looking at this from all the other Dalek episodes I've seen over, modern Doctor Who or stuff like that. But even if you just go off of, this is the 4th Dalek serial we've had, because we had the Daleks, the Invasion, the Chase, and now this one. Just going off of those, I feel like it'd be hard to outwit the Daleks.
On the other hand, the Dalek who was guarding the spaceship got overcome with a handful of mud.
Yeah, that's true. Which, we kind of accepted that, like, when they did something similar in the first Dalek serial, but that's the first Dalek serial. Yeah. That's when they were still, like, they were running on static electricity and stuff. Yeah. Like, now that is a bit weird that still works, I
remember I used to do a lot of creative writing when I was in junior high school. I remember writing a kind of semi-science fiction type story where, this machine was basically transforming good things into bad things, and the hero ultimately figures out all he has to do is unplug the machine. I mean, so it's that kind of stupidity. You would expect something better than that in Doctor Who, other than, oh wait, here, we'll rub a handful of mud over his eyeball and steal his ship. Because it seems to me that if the Dalek can't see, all he has to do is turn around in a 360-degree circle firing, and he would kill everything in sight.
Yeah. Well, especially, too, because at least right now, because of the effect that they do, where, it's like it shoots and then the entire screen, like, lights up. I feel like it must be some sort of a spread weapon, I don't know though. Let's see. I did like that Steven was the primitive in this one, where, because, as we've progressed with our companions, we had Ian and Barbara, and then we had Vicky, who was in the future, and Steven, who was in her future, and then, obviously we got Katerina for 5 seconds, which was funny. But this time, he's actually the primitive compared to Sarah and the Doctor, so I thought that was kind of funny. But his plan did work. It did charge the fake Terranium. He just had to, kind of get knocked out for a little while and be stuck in a force field.
Yeah, it's like young children, including my own, who decided to find out what the little wall sockets are all about.
That was not me, by the way.
Oh, well, I guess, yeah.
No, that was my brother. That was not me. There was one time I was just plugging in a fan. It's actually the same fan I have down here. Even back then, when I was a kid, it was still an old fan, and I plugged it in, and there were just a couple sparks. Scared me off of plugging in anything for like 5 years. So that was not me. I was not that kid. So
I don't like that outlet. Really? Why? Bazap.
Let's see. I wrote down the escape. I guess that was the when they handed over the fake Terranium, and they tried killing Steven, but he had that force field, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Which that was clever. Because I was kind of thinking, like, okay, there's no, like, once you hand over the fake Terranium, it's like there's no reason for them not to just kill you. But I didn't realize that he had that.
Of course, the other thing would be if he were standing in the doorway and just tossed it out and closed the door.
Yeah, but I was thinking if maybe he could run in fast enough.
But they did set that up well. I mean, they mentioned twice after Steven had gone unconscious that he's got this gravitational force field around him. So it made perfect sense when they said, just follow my instructions, Steven, you'll be fine. And then when they shot him and he walked in, they went, aha, you see, the force field I talked about was working perfectly. So for once, they actually set that up and then carried it out the way it was supposed to go.
Right. And then it was Christmas. So
the less said about that, the better.
Well, I mean, just to briefly mention it. First, we went to the police, which was boring. Nothing happened in that. And then they left.
And again, I would bet that there is some kind of either crossover or tie-in to something that British people would have known very, very well. It seems highly unlikely that they would have a 5-10 minute segment like that nobody would have understood. So
yeah, it's just I hope that it is that. Although we've had our jokes about dimensions in time, and obviously the comment section on that video was really fun with everyone saying how much they hated it or stuff like that. Honestly, Dimensions in Time was kind of fun. It was just a goofy little thing with with all the returning doctors and stuff. This was not that. So, I don't even. Oh yeah, the next part of that was going to the film set, which was just another 15 minutes of nothing happening. So,
and again, I don't know if any of the people who appeared in that would have been people who were well known to the British public at that time, which strikes me as it's a possibility, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't recognize any of them.
The only thing is one of the directors, he actually kind of looked like Sidney Newman.
Yeah, and I thought one of the guys looked like Sidney Newman.
Yeah, and I was curious, I was like, maybe that's it?
I wonder if we went back and looked at that, if that was in fact him.
Maybe. That was part 7, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Just go to the end credits there.
Yeah, let me see what I can do here.
Merry Christmas to all of you at home.
Let's see.
Although they might not put him in as his actual name.
Yeah. Well, first we gotta get through the policemen. No.
But yeah, it did look like the guy who played Sidney Newman in the Adventures in Time and Space.
Yeah.
Or Space and Time, whatever it was.
Alright. So, I mean, if that was actually him, I mean, that would also kind of make sense to have him play that character, but still, that segment... And I guess, I don't know, because it doesn't help that it's all in recon as well.
Yeah.
So, we're just watching some images, and then there's a bunch of people yelling, and because of the audio quality, we can't make out what anyone's saying.
Yeah.
So it's it's just so odd, and the fact that was the one that was specifically written by Terry Nation, the same man that just threw a companion out of an airlock.
Right at the end, if the Doctor had not turned directly to the camera, if he had just said, and Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night, or God bless us everyone, that's one thing. But to literally turn right to the camera and say to the people at home, and Merry Christmas to you all, that's just unforgivable. Just unforgivable.
It's so dumb, because it's not even like, oh, well, this show is for kids and stuff. And it's like, yeah, tell that to Katarina, Tell that to Brett, who just got murdered in the last episode. Like, we are not in kids show mode anymore. Yeah. So
she killed her own brother. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, like, and they don't harp on that whatsoever. They're like, he was my brother. Leaves. Well, enough about that. Let's move on. So, speaking of moving on, we did have the Destructor. They tried using the Destructor, but obviously it didn't work because they don't have the Terranium. I'm still curious what it does, because, like, does it drive a person mad or something? I don't know what they were testing it with. Like, I don't know. I'm very curious as to what this thing actually does. Yeah. So
we spent literally 8 weeks, and we still have no idea what it does.
Yeah, and this is the big, I guess, the big MacGuffin of this, whole serial. So. I also wrote down that this honestly just became the chase again, where it's like, well, let's just go to different time places, and only now are the Daleks actually going to try to find them. Yeah. For a little bit we actually had the monk, but still it's like, okay, so we're just gonna kind of recycle the last Dalek serial again. Yeah. So, we were kind of already doing that, because this is another Dalek invasion of Earth. It's a lot different, but still. Yeah. So
I mentioned it before. I suspect what's going to happen is the Doctor is going to somehow have the Daleks follow the monk, so that they can go about whatever it is they need to do.
I could see that, because why else did they bring the monk back for this? So other than it was cool seeing him again. This is the first time that, other than the Daleks, that we've had a reoccurring villain. Yeah. So. And he's just as goofy as ever, which doesn't match this episode at all. It doesn't even match the Christmas stuff, which was just stupid. Like, he kind of seems out of place, honestly. Yeah. But it's nice to see him. And
again, I mentioned this when we were watching it. Why that one episode was called Coronas of the Sun makes no sense. That last episode, although they were on a volcanic planet, why would you call the entire episode Volcano? Because it had nothing to do with the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
It seemed very slipshod. It's like somebody just said, hey, we need a bunch of episodes, and somebody said, here, take it. And they knew it was crap, and there was nothing they could do about it.
Yeah, unless it was like you said, like Terry Nation, like he planned out a good number of episodes, and like maybe he was getting really into the writing, but before he had finished any of the stuff, they came and was like, hey, we need a little bit of filler, we need some of this, we need a Christmas episode, we need New Year's, and then he was like, okay, I'll see what I can do. And then for 2 episodes he had to pass them off to someone else so that the episodes could actually get done. So
did Dennis Spooner write the Meddling Monk serial?
I don't remember.
No, I don't either.
He might have. It
was historical, so
yeah, it might have been. And then the last thing I wrote down was the lock on the TARDIS, which again, that ring came in handy. Like, I still don't know what this ring does, why the Doctor has it, or anything. Like, he just uses it for everything. Yeah. And in this one, he reflects the light off of the sun, which he says the light from that sun is specifically weird, and so he bounces that off the ring into the lock of the TARDIS, which undoes whatever the monk did, and then they get in and they leave. Yeah. So that was odd, but it was also clever, I guess. So,
and in that last little montage of London on New Year's Eve, again, if you're going to do that, how can you not have somewhere in the crowd Barbara and Ian?
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're specifically here. Like, that's the thing. We actually made it back to London in the mid 60s, which is what the whole point of like the first 2 seasons was to get back there and get Ian and Barbara home. And it's like, oh well, now we're just here randomly. It's like, could we at least see them? Just anything, So yeah, but that's all I got. I'm gonna hope that the next 4 episodes are better.
Oh, let us pray.
I'm going to assume so. I'm going to assume that these were the filler episodes that either they just needed filler because they needed it, or episodes like the Christmas episode where it's like, well, we got orders. We're the big show at the BBC, so we got to put in a Christmas episode. Like, even if it was like a fun Christmas episode, that would have been one thing. As random as it would have been, like if they met Santa, that would have been so dumb, especially in the middle of a dark Dalek serial. But that would have been funny.
But yeah. I mean, seriously, have him have the Dalek, have the TARDIS land in 4th century Turkey and meet the original Saint Nicholas, and have somehow he manages to inspire them to do something, just anything like that, other than hello, what's all this in? Oh, it's a police box. I saw a bloke come out of it. Yep, it's gone.
Yeah.
Why? What did that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Movie set. Why? And again, the movie set, I was assuming, would have been in California or in New Jersey, somewhere in the United States, because it didn't give us a time period there, but I don't know that the British were churning out stuff like that, because obviously, you got a set for the Sheik, and you got a set for, the melodrama, and then you got all these other things, and the Keystone Cops. That was all American stuff. And so why are we landing in America in the late 1915, 1920 time period for silent films? They showed us Charlie Chaplin, who was a British actor, but I think made most of his films in the United States. So it's confusing. It's very confusing.
And the cricket game too.
Yeah,
that happened. Like, oh, there's a police box down there. Up there it goes. Back to the game.
Back to the game. Now, again,
they didn't even get out of the TARDIS.
Maybe that was more of a parody of, how... and I'll tell you, I used to watch cricket every now and then, but it is a game that lasts forever. Whereas an American baseball game, 9 innings, usually runs anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. A cricket match can actually run for days at a time.
Jeez.
And on television, and again, you've got the announcers who can't be very loud because you don't want to disturb any of the people. So, so maybe it was just a quick little dig at the BBC broadcasting too many sports games that were incredibly boring, but still...
I mean, it was short, I guess, but they didn't even bother to get out of the TARDIS. Like, it's just so random.
It's like that one little scene at the end of Men in Black, where the cricket tries to take off and they shoot him down, but the spaceship traveling over Yankee Stadium, and the guy gets beamed in the head with a baseball because he's looking at the spaceship and not at the ball he's trying to catch. Just something like that would have been funny. Or to have the guy who was bat the ball, and you watch it roll across the pitch, and the door of the TARDIS opens and the ball goes in, and they go oops and close it, and then they take off. I mean, just something. If you're going to land in a cricket match, do something that's funny about it. And it's like, we're here. Oh, look, there's a police call box. It's gone. Oh, back to the game.
Or like, someone's running and they're not really looking where they're going. The TARDIS materializes. You slap, you get some good slapstick. They open the door. Nope. And then they leave. Like, it's something. I don't know. And maybe that's also... Maybe they couldn't bother to have Hartnell actually at that cricket game or something, because they never got out. So, I don't know. This has been the weirdest set of Doctor Who episodes we've ever seen. And there's nothing more we can say other than...
We got nothing.
Other than Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
And a Happy New Year.
Yeah. So...
With that being said...
We're Alex and Dad from Seventh Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video, I guess. If you want to watch more of our Doctor Who classic reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit the notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.